Hi, this is Mario Guerra, and today we're here talking Downey with Mario
and Eric.
We want to start this podcast because we wanted to have an informative way to be able to talk to people about what events are going on in Downey, things that are happening, not only current events, but a little bit of the history, just kind of have fun with our community.
Absolutely.
The more that people know about Downey, the better it is. So anyways, Eric, why do you want to do this podcast?
To kind of talk about the stories that we've shared to each other with friends and kind of talking more about Downey. Some examples, Tesla. That whole situation, not coming to Downey. You gave the infamous quote that the deal was 99.9% done. It didn't happen. Not your fault.
We had the lease. It was in my hand.
Right.
We had a late night with Elon Musk and our lawyers, and we were there together. So that's a whole different story. Yeah.
But that's gonna be. There's other stories too.
Yeah.
And that's one reason I'm excited that we're having this podcast, because there's now a new way to talk about Downey. And to be honest, I'm surprised that there isn't already a podcast in Downey.
I know last week we both heard and saw the economic forum that's put on by Financial Partners Credit Union.
Right, that was great, and I was lucky enough to be invited there. So I was there in the audience. It was Chris Thornburg, the economist, and I came out of it really optimistic about where we are, where our country is financially, because obviously we're still in the pandemic, and people are suffering. We know that. But it's not all gloom and doom. And I think one key point that Dr. Thornburg made was to read multiple sources of information.
Yeah.
Because if you just watch, the TV news, you would get this impression that everything is just terrible in regards to our economy.
It's just not. It's not. He was talking about the bubble. He talked about, last year we had 2.5 million people retire in the United States. And he was talking about the labor shortage, okay? The supply is definitely, the needs are there, but it's a labor supply shortage. And that's one of the things that is impacting. But we're not in a bubble. He thinks real estate is still fine. It's not like the crash of 2008. All the indicators are there, which gave you a lot of confidence. And you're right, it made us. So Dr. Chris Thornburg, Beacon Economics, we thank Financial Partners Credit Union. It's the 5th year in a row they've done this. So at least you want to know from an expert what's going on, and it's kind of interesting.
City Council meeting recently. This surprised me a little bit. I don't know about you, but they voted no confidence in the Los Angeles District Attorney George Gascon. It was brought on by Mayor Claudia Fermetta, and she got the votes, and Downey became the 31st city to vote against Gascon and his policies. Did you see that coming?
I did not see it coming. I saw that it had been put on the agenda, and I was kind of curious the direction of where it was going. It was interesting. So bottom line, when it came to it, so it was a 3-1 vote. So, Claudia Fermetta was joined by Councilman Sean Astin, and Mayor Pro Tem Blanca Pacheco, which I did not know which way they were going to go, and they said they both had met DA Gascon and so forth. The one that you have Mario Trujillo that voted against it, obviously. He was a district attorney for working for Gascon. He just retired, and he brought up some very good points.
He did.
He's a lawyer, so he brought it from a legalese standpoint. Very, very well informed. The one that was kind of interesting was Catherine Alvarez. She was trying to grill the police chief, which, I think the chief was so professional. If I'm him, thank goodness for the mask, I guess, because some of the questions are like, huh? What did you just ask? What? It didn't make any sense, but he was very professional about it. But so she said that she supports Gascon and all these other things, and then when it came down to it, she abstained. She abstained.
She didn't vote against it.
No.
It doesn't make any sense. It's not the first time that she's done that. I don't get it. I don't understand, because if you're against it, you vote no.
Right.
So we had 3 yes votes.
Right.
We had 1 no vote with Lamar Trujillo.
Right.
And Catherine Alvarez abstained. I don't know if she did that, but unless it was a political maneuver, I don't know.
So, Eric, let's talk about a Downey History Minute. Okay? We love our history on there. So you go ahead. You go first.
Okay. So my Downey History Minute, I have to credit Bobby Bruce at the Downey Historical Society. She wrote over the summer, well, she writes a column for the Downey Patriot called Things They Didn't Know About Downey. And over the summer, she wrote this very interesting column titled The Men Who Came to Your House. And this was about the various delivery services. It was the milkman, the bread man,
the Helms Bakery.
The Helms Bakery.
Oh, yeah.
I never saw, I'm not old enough to remember that.
Pull out the big drawer, baby, and you get the big one donuts.
People get so excited about that.
Yeah.
Mark, what's your Downey History Minute?
So
I emphasize minutes.
I know. That's my problem. I talk too much, but that's okay. I'm a politician, and I'm proud of that part. So my Downey History moment is sister cities with the birthplace of John Gately Downey. Okay, John Gately Downey came over when he was 14 years old in 1851. He was the first of so many different things here. He was the first foreign-born governor, started the Chamber of Commerce in California, was a businessman, became governor at the age of 32. He originally came here to become a priest, and then came from Maryland all the way up to the gold rush in Northern California. But John Gately Downey was born in Roscommon, Tagmacano, Roscommon, Ireland. So when I was mayor, I was honored to be able to go to Roscommon to sign Sister Cities' relationship with the birthplace of John Gately Downey.
Yeah.
In 1957, President Eisenhower said, we need to have relations with other countries, and others, community to community, for economic, for social, for educational purposes. So in August 1960, the city of Downey in Guadalajara, Mexico, became the very first sister city in history,
really?
The history of the United States.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting out there. So let's get some fun. Dork of the month. What's your dork of the month this time?
Dork of the month. My dork of the month goes to various people. And what I mean, this goes out to all the anti-vaxxers in our country. And I'm not trying to get political, but it's not a political issue. Nothing frustrates me more that we're in this pandemic and we have a vaccine that is proven to be safe and effective, and we have people who, for their own selfish reasons, refuse to get it.
The Army led Operation Warp Speed last year, General Gus Perna, and the development of it. So this is a miracle. It's a scientific miracle to be able to do this safely. And I mean, this vaccine's been tested now, the most tested vaccine in the history of mankind, and we literally have 250 million people just in the United States that have the vaccine. So we're living miracles of that. So I couldn't agree with you more. Get your vaccine; it's important.
Mario, who was your dork?
Well, I'll tell you, I
can't wait to hear this.
I went to the council meeting this week. Because first of all, thank you to Mayor Frometa for honoring the Mayor's Legacy Award to former Mayor Meredith Perkins. Dear man, dear friend of mine. So I was glad on his family's behalf to accept that in his behalf. But I'm sitting there, and my dork of the month is the dorks that come there that are I don't even know the word. Eric, the civil discourse that's being shown by only a handful, it's like 4 or 5 people.
Right.
So and thank goodness 111,000 people in the city of Downey don't care, okay, and don't follow that because their lives are living normally. Our city is well balanced. It's got a great police, fire. We have a lot of jobs. Our city council's ethical for the most part. There is ethical, so is our city staff. But these people come there, they use bad words. They use the F word, they use the N word, they use these terrible words, and it's just, there's no reason for it. They just basically want to just get their 3 minutes of fame. They continue that. I was amazed at the civil discourse. I understand if you have an issue, and there were some legitimate people, but you don't have to use this foul language. You don't have to do these crazy things. Dorks of the month. There's a guy that complains that the city council was racist against Latinos. Mind you, we're 80% Latino, and 4 out of the 5 people up there in the council are Latino. But mind you, they want to complain. He complains that we're being racist to Latinos. Yet his name is Juan, but he wants to be called Joey.
Joey.
So he's running away from his own name. Okay, so he's one of them. There's another guy on there that wore a Hitler hat with a beanie and brings his dog, anyways. But they call names. Every other word is the F word or this and that. So anyways.
The meetings are so toxic now.
Yeah.
And it's terrible. Like, I wouldn't want to be there in general, but especially if I had a child, if I was just a homeowner to want to address my city council representatives, over, whatever issue I have, I shouldn't have to sit through all that, negative, not hateful speech. People are looking for provocation.
Right.
People are looking,
and they're provoking. They're doing the provoking. That's the interesting part.
Absolutely. And it goes both ways. They're provoking the city council members, and the city council members, they should know better, but also they're human, and they can only take so much of somebody making allegations against them.
Yeah. Well, listen, in future meetings and future podcasts, we'll talk a little bit more about the political dynamics of the city, what's going on. We'll talk, there's the elephant in the room. There's a recall going on right now that was just certified by the city clerk against Catherine Alvarez. And we want to keep this lightheaded. Lightheaded, that's not even a word. We want to keep it lighthearted. Lighthearted. Hey, I'm going to have a lot of that. You're the journalism guy, okay? I'm the fast-talking politician guy, right? But with a good heart, and the intent is definitely pure. So we'll do all these things. We want to have fun with this, but we want to be informative. So we're going to give you the information. Please send us in your ideas, your thoughts. What do you want to talk about? Questions you want us to bring up? Anything that we can to make this podcast a little bit better. God bless you. Have a good week, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye, guys.